I am so behind on end of the year videos because it has been raining or overcast for the past 5 days in the state where it rains approximately twice a year. So the lighting. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Jill and today I'm going to be talking about the most disappointing books that I read in 2016. Before I get started, I just want to take some time to thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing, you blow me away every single day. I'm just in complete shock, and I just wanted to thank you guys so much for being amazing and perfect, and every single person who's left a comment or a like or subscribed or anything like that, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And also, before I get into it, I think we all understand the universal disclaimer when it comes to these controversial videos, so I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not trying to offend you. Please don't think I'm trying to offend you. So yeah. 2016 was a very good reading year for me, but I did have quite a few books that I didn't really enjoy, and I think that has to do a lot with that my reading tastes have changed dramatically. 2016 was about, I think, the second year that I was really reading YA a lot, and I think that I read a ton of stories, and so some of these tropes that I keep seeing over and over and over again are getting a bit old. So I think that's why I actually have 9 books that I didn't really enjoy very much. But before I keep rambling, let's just get into the video. These are in no particular order. The first book I have is Lady Renegades by Rachel Hawkins. This is the third and final book in the Rebel Belle trilogy by Rachel Hawkins. I love the first book in this trilogy. It's one of the first books that I read that I discovered through BookTube, and I just loved it. It's about this badass named Harper, and she basically gains these magical powers, and she has to protect this guy that she really hates, and it's great. The first book is fantastic. The second book was okay, which is Miss Mayhem, but this book was just very underwhelming. I did not enjoy it very much. I didn't reread Rebel Belle or Miss Mayhem before I went into this book, so I was already pretty disconnected, but this book just felt so pointless, and it felt like nothing happened in it. And I know that this is a common opinion that this book was not the best. It is very short. It's like not even, it's like barely 200 pages, or I guess it's 260 pages, sorry. It didn't do anything for me. Our two main characters are separated almost the entire time, and the ending was one of the tropes that I really hate, this ending that happened, and it was just pointless, and I really just thought that this ruined the trilogy for me, because now I feel like I can't recommend the trilogy because the last 2 books were not very good. So yeah. Next up, I have a book series, an entire book series that I know are lots of people's favorite series, and that is the entire Raven Cycle Quartet by Maggie Stiefvater. And I will say that I gave this quartet a good damn try. I read every single book, and I just was waiting for it to get better and better and better. I just did not enjoy it, and I think the main reason why I didn't enjoy this book is because I have found that I am not a fan of magical realism at all. I don't know what it is, I just do not enjoy magical realism, and this book really has that magical realism vibe to it. I really like to know that there's logic behind basically like the magic. I mean, I love fantasy, but it's when there's like this sort of line is blurred between reality and magic, and you don't really know what's going on. Overall, this quartet just confused the hell out of me. I had no idea what was happening. None of the characters I really liked, and I know that these characters are some of the most beloved characters ever, but I really didn't like them very much. I just was so confused, and I just didn't understand anything that was going on, and I didn't understand why, and I tried really hard. It just was not the best in my opinion. The next book I have is The Dragon Heir by Cinda Williams-Chima. This is the 3rd book in her Heir Chronicles series, and this was supposed to be the conclusion to the original trilogy, but then she decided to add 2 more books following different characters. But this book was not very good in my opinion. So the Heir Chronicles, the first one is the Warrior Heir. I thought it was pretty good. It was a pretty good setup. The second book, The Wizard Heir, I loved so much, and this book was very annoying and infuriated me. It follows 2 perspectives, and both of those perspectives are some of the most annoying, self-righteous people that I have ever encountered. And what's especially sad is that one of my favorite characters from The Wizard Heir, Jason, is a main character in this book, and he just turns into this annoying, whining, awful person and I just did not like him. I thought the ending to this trilogy was very, we're gonna go like frolic through the roses even though nothing is solved, and that's just really annoying to me. And yeah, so not my favorite in the series, but I do enjoy the series as a whole. It's just that this book was annoying. Next up, I have one that probably won't come as a surprise, and that is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, but actually written by Jack Thorne. I don't have like huge critiques about this book. I just wanted to include it to say that I am fairly confident that this book was marketed very, very wrongly. It was marketed as the 8th Harry Potter book, and that's what I believed it to be, but it is not at all the 8th Harry Potter book. I'm not saying that, oh, it's a script so it's bad or whatever. I just think that it should have been marketed way, way better and in a completely different way, because I think lots of people, including me, were expecting it to be like the 8th Harry Potter book, but it is on a completely different playing field. It is a script, so it's just not going to be the same thing as the original Harry Potter series, and I just think it was wrong for them to market it that way, and it overall was a disappointment to me because of the marketing of this book. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, it wasn't what I expected it to be, and so it made some of my most disappointing books, and it breaks my heart. Next up, I have The Call by Peter O'Guilan. This book I just thought was weird. I'm not a huge fan of horror books, but this book was so strange to me that it wasn't even scary. I read this back like near Halloween-ish, and basically this book is about, I honestly barely remember what this book is about because I've like blocked it out of my memory. I think it follows this island that's I think based on modern day Ireland, and there's like these evil fae people. So basically the humans have made these evil fae people, they've like excommunicated them to this really like this completely colorless world, and so the evil fae are mad, and so they take humans, and the humans have to try to survive in their lands for 24 hours. And I know that lots of people really enjoyed this book and they thought it was creepy and gory, and I think it was so far-fetched that I just could not buy into it, so I didn't take it seriously at all. It's kind of like really short, and so I felt like I didn't care about any of the characters. The characters that I slightly like kind of cared about lost me by the end. I hated them. But yeah, overall just weird. It was weird. I don't want to think about it anymore. It was weird.
The sun's coming out, yes! Finally, it's taken you 5 days. Probably gonna like be overcast now because I said something. Great.
Next up, I have another pretty beloved book that came out recently, and that is Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. Basically, this book follows three triplet queens, and one is a naturalist, one is an elemental, and one is a poisoner. And basically, once they reach the age of 16, they have to fight to the death in order to take the throne. And so it's in multiple POVs between these three queens. It took me approximately 80% of this book to even recognize which queen was who. Very confusing to me. I basically knew who the queens were based on the side characters, and there were so many side characters that I just kept getting everyone mixed up. And plus, this book has one of my least favorite tropes in the entire world, and that is cheating on your significant other. This book has a lot of that, and it just pissed me off. And it just turned me off of this book, and I overall just did not enjoy anything about it, and it had so wonderful potential, and I just don't enjoy this book at all. I feel so bad about that. Next up, I have a book, the only book that I actually DNF'd, and you know that if you know me at all, I do not DNF books. I'm one of the people who push through and read books even if you don't like them. I'm just one of those people, but I actually had to DNF this book about like 40% of the way through because I just couldn't take it anymore. And that is Enter Title Here by Rahul Kanakia. I haven't heard a lot about this book on BookTube, but essentially it follows this girl named Reshma, and she is a college counselor's dream, and she has dreams of getting into Stanford. So she's one of those crazy people who want to get into college. There's people who want to get into good colleges, and then they're like I'm going to sell my entire life and my entire being in order to get into this college, and that's the only thing that I'm gonna do. So she is quite the anti-hero, and she just annoyed the shit out of me. I couldn't take it. I love anti-hero stories, but contemporary anti-hero stories, she annoyed me and I just couldn't do it. I didn't care whether she redeemed herself. I don't think she even does. She like was so full and awful. It's like basically movie Mean Girls, but like there's no redemptive qualities to them, and that's what this book, or at least the first 50% of it was. It just was not my thing. It annoyed me to no end, had to put it down, so obviously it made my most disappointing list of this year. Next up I have The Crowns Game by Evelyn Skye. If you don't know, this book is like set in Russia and it follows these two enchanters who have to fight to the death in order to become the main enchanter for the Tsar of Russia. So the concept is amazing, but the magic system had no rules. The magic system had absolutely no rules. I felt like two of the main characters could do whatever they wanted as soon as the plot demanded it. You know what I'm saying? That there was no like checks to it, and that they could get out of any situation because, oh, now I can suddenly do this with my magic. And I thought the ending was pretty predictable. I didn't really enjoy two of the main characters. I thought there was so much insta-love in this book. That's another thing that sort of really got on my nerves this year, is the insta-love. So many characters fall desperately in love with other characters, having known them, having like not even talked to them in this book. It just annoyed me. I saved for the best for last. This is my least favorite book of the year because I don't think I've actually gotten like physically angry at a book as much as I've gotten angry at this one. Again, no hate, I just... this book, and that is The Last Star by Rick Yancey. If you watched my channel for a little bit, you will probably remember me ranting about this book when I read it. Won't go into it like a really long rant because I could go on and on about this book. I felt like my characters were destroyed. I really loved the Fifth Wave, and I really love The Infinite Sea. And it might be partially my fault because I didn't reread The Fifth Wave and The Infinite Sea, so I wasn't really connected with the characters. I just sort of jumped into this book. So I just felt like these characters were different people. And again, that might be my fault. Maybe they were the same, but just to me, my overall enjoyment, I thought these characters were different. I didn't recognize most of them. I didn't like any of them. I didn't care about any of them. I loved the main character. I loved Evan, and I loved Cassie, and I loved Ringer, and I loved all of them in the first two books, and this book just destroyed them for me, and it made me so angry. Plus, like, the ending was, I like, by the end, because if you read this book, you know what happens at the end, and the ending just made me angry. I just wasn't even sad about it, and like, the epilogue was just, I felt like I was betrayed. That my characters that I love so much, I was betrayed, and so obviously I didn't like this book. I know I'm getting like really deep into it, but I love the series so much, and I know I'm probably sounding really dramatic, but honestly, I don't know whether it was just me or whether it was this book, but yeah, I felt betrayed. So there you guys have it. Those were all the books that I was pretty disappointed by that I read in 2016. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Again, if these are some of your favorite series of all times, please know that I was not trying to offend you. I am very happy that you enjoyed these books. And yeah, so thanks so much for watching. I have my Goodreads, Twitter, and Instagram all linked down below, and I'm going to announce this in another formal video, but if you're still watching, I have a different Instagram now. I have a personal Instagram, and now I have an actual Bookstagram account, and I will start linking both of those down below. My new Bookstagram is actually at Midnight Reader 99 instead of Midnight Reads 99, so my Bookstagram is that. I'm going to be posting just bookish pictures, but if you still want to follow me on my personal Instagram, that is also going to be linked for you down below. So that was kind of a long drawn out thing, but I'll explain more about like the reasons for all that in a later video. And yeah, thanks again so much for watching, guys. Give it a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you later in a new video. Bye!